This video is a bummer. So it turns out we're losing half of Overwatch 2, or at least half of what they promised Overwatch 2 was gonna be. We just found out that they are no longer gonna be doing the grand PvE hero mode that they promised back at BlizzCon 2019. This really sucks. I mean, Overwatch 2 has had a horrible time so far. It's pretty much just been the same Overwatch we all had with a few tweaks. There's the 5v5 mode, which you might could argue is more balanced. They've added some new heroes and some new maps, but they've also added a host of changes that people really didn't agree with. At best, it's of a similar quality to what we had in Overwatch 2016, but at worst, it's just downright not as good. I know loot boxes weren't the best thing in the world, but Overwatch was one of the few games that actually handled that system pretty well. Now with this new free-to-play system, most of the greatest skins are locked either behind a paywall or the battle pass. And I mean, you don't even get to play the newest hero unless you buy the battle pass. It's all been pretty rough, but through it all, we've been able to look forward to this great big new PvE mode that was coming out. These huge talent trees that were taking the characters we love and expanding them and giving us new ways to play. Big open-ended replayable missions that we could grind with our friends and level up our characters. And just a whole new approach to Overwatch that looked really exciting and looked like it was going to breathe new life into the franchise. And they decided to cut it. And that's just a real bummer all around. In a YouTube video they dropped today, executive producer Jared Noose and game director Aaron Keller announced that this mode was something they're not focused on anymore. In fact, they haven't been focused on it for about 8 months now, I believe they said.
So we had a difficult choice to make. We could continue working on our original vision for Overwatch 2 without a definitive end date in sight, or change our strategy and get something in front of players sooner. We chose the latter, and we released Overwatch 2 last October with
and we're just now hearing about it, which is interesting, but that's a whole nother can of worms. No, they said that it was just taking too many resources away from the PvP side of the game, and that they had no end in sight for development. That with 40 to 50 talents per character and 35 characters, it was just too much work to get this done. Which I can see their point. If the game wasn't going to be completed for a few years, then the whole mix between Overwatch 2 PvP and this new PvE mode was kind of so far apart that it wasn't even worth doing. At the same time, I would have loved them to maybe just announce that they're still working on the PvE mode, but they're going to spin it off into its own game now. Maybe hire new developers and just work on it and flesh it out to be this own game because it's becoming way bigger than they imagined it would be. Now that's not going to help players that were burned by Overwatch 2, but at least we would have the new PvE mode to look forward to and get excited about going forward. I mean, I can appreciate them admitting that it was just too much work and the resources just weren't there and maybe financially it didn't make sense, and that it was just better for them to focus on the PvP side of the game, but it's just a bummer. They did offer the consolation of saying that we're still going to get story missions, but honestly, these just sound like bigger versions of the bite-sized little PvE missions that we already have in Overwatch. They're kind of disjointed, they don't really make much sense, and they're a far cry from what was promised back at BlizzCon 2019. So for Overwatch going forward, that kind of means that players like me are just out. I'm just kind of done with Overwatch at this point. That's really sad because I love the world of Overwatch. I love the characters that these developers created. I love the lore that they've put forward so far for this world. Everything about Overwatch I really, really enjoy, and it sucks to see that we're not going to get to experience this awesome mode that we were told we were going to get to experience. I feel for the developers, and I know it probably wasn't an easy decision to make, but at the same time, I can't agree that it was the right decision either. I'm just not going to be playing Overwatch that much anymore. All of these PvP live service games that you have to keep up with and buy the battle pass for, and if you don't grind the battle pass and stay on the game constantly, you miss out on so much, and the game changes and evolves so fast that it's just hard to keep up with. I just rather play a single player game or a PvE focused game that I can play at my own pace or play with friends and just kind of casually chill, that I don't have to keep up with like it's a job. And some people enjoy that, and I enjoyed that in the past when I had more time, but these days I just kind of am over that, and it's not something I really want to partake in. I might hop in every now and again just for shits and giggles and have a little bit of fun, but overall this is just kind of the end of me playing Overwatch for a while, and that really sucks. Maybe one day they can get back to doing a PvE mode, or maybe even a bigger experience, or they can find some other avenue to explore these characters in this world that they have created with Overwatch that we all love so much. But until then, something you can do is subscribe to my channel. I have all kinds of gaming content that I'm working on, from news like this to funny gaming videos to reviews, and I just launched a podcast style conversation piece called Game Bites. Episode 1 is up now, and I'll have episode 2 live next week. So if that sounds like something you'd want to support, hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching.